We're here on Sunday. There are 11 games on. We're going to stream them in, and these are the moves that hopefully are going to win your fantasy basketball matchup, Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and starting on Monday, I'm going to do every show in a Glorilla accent. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Also, thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We are available on all platforms. Hit the newsletter as well at lockedondaily.com. You can sign up for the best news on your favorite NBA team and news across the NBA at large. That's at lockedondaily.com. We are here on National, in Italy, Carbonara Day. So celebrate carbonara, which honestly not my favorite type of pasta. And if you're making carbonara, all the Italians out here will know this. It's got to be guanciale. I have to use guanciale. It can't be ham. It can't be bacon. At a pinch, maybe pancetta. It's got to be guanciale. Surely we know that. Maybe not. Who cares? Guanciale. What are we talking about? We're talking about Sunday. Across the NBA, we're going to talk schedule stuff as well. Remember, not remember because I haven't told you this, but I'm telling you now, I am not doing a weekly preview show for next week. Very good reason for that. Well, numerous reasons for week 25, the week starting on the 7th of April. A lot of people aren't playing fantasy. Like, simple as that. Most people's leagues, rightfully so, have finished. Especially head-to-head leagues. They should all be done. Like, this is a ridiculous week to be playing anyway, but they should all be done. Secondly, it's a stupid week. You've got 15 games on Friday, 0 on Saturday, 15 games on Sunday. I'll give you a quick overview of what to do during the week. Those days, and you are going to have a million players out. There is only one situation during the week where there is a back-to-back that it doesn't include a 15-game day. It's Tuesday into Wednesday. 10 games Tuesday, 10 games Wednesday. We've got about 10 teams that play a back-to-back. Monday to Tuesday, nothing. Wednesday to Thursday, nothing. Obviously, every team that plays Thursday also plays Friday, considering every team plays on Friday, and there is no more back-to-backs. So in terms of using your moves, you get maybe someone in on Monday with 2 games on. You do the Wednesday, Thursday back-to-back where there are a lot of teams playing. And then you look to Thursday to get someone who's playing there. And then you just see what happens on the other days. When there is every team playing, you could save 2 moves if you wanted to, for one for Friday and one for Sunday. But again, so much is going to change even between Friday and Sunday that it's a tough one to figure out. And you may have a full roster, you may not. If you want to max out what you're doing, and you've only got 4 moves, you could just go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. 4 individual games, that's it. If you want to save one, do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, back-to-back, do Thursday. And then save one to see what happens Friday, Sunday. But it is a weird week. There is 3 days where you cannot stream. And honestly, there are 2 more on those 10-game days where you might not be able to stream anyway. It depends on how your roster is set up. So it is an incredibly difficult week to max out games. It's an incredibly difficult week to do anything like that. And there is no hidden trick. There is no, well, if you do this, you do it like you've got 4 days max to do it. There's only 1 period to do a back-to-back, and that is it. So there's no point going in depth with this stuff. So that's your week 25 preview, and we are hitting each day as we go. The recaps are still happening. The daily previews are still happening, and we're hitting the days like that, but we are not, there's no elaborate plan to get 5 extra games in your opponent. You just can't do it this week. It's not going to be possible outside of they get hit by injuries, and you don't. That's realistically as simple as it gets. Let's take a look at that schedule now. Let's have a look at some interesting parts. Well, I guess there's a way that you can get a slight advantage because there is one team that plays Sunday, Monday. That's your Sacramento Kings. That is it. There is no other team that does that. But there are 11 games Sunday and there are 2 on Monday. And the Kings play in both. We've also got 3 teams coming into Sunday with the back-to-back. The Hawks, the Bucks, and the Knicks. Like I said earlier as well, the Sunday, well, maybe I didn't. The Sunday is an 11-game day, so that is a hard day to stream anyway. We're going to talk streaming options, but overall, this is a day that you may not be able to do it. But if you've got a move left over, what you're doing on Sunday is usually not doing it to get a bonus game or to get an extra game. It's like to make a move from I don't need assists to maybe I need rebounds. That's the move you're making. Because, again, you can find games on your bench almost certainly with 11 games on. You could find that. The games start at 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, and there are 11 of them, and they finish like really early. The last game tips off at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Very early start. So there's your back-to-back situation. So if you wanted a Kings player, Valanciunas would be desperation stuff. You're looking at if there was a dropped Malik Monk or a Keon Ellis. That's realistically what we're talking about in terms of stream options. Now, I'm also not going to look at chunks. And the reason I'm not is that Sunday is an 11-game day. And then we go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which is 4 days. Chunks we do who can play 3 games in 5 nights, so we're not going to include Sunday with 11 games on. The thing is, between Monday and Thursday, there is no team at all that plays 3 games. There is no 3-game in 4 night next week, Monday through Thursday. So you can't even get an advantage there. What I am going to look at is something I'm going to dub reverse chunks. What do I mean by that? Well, over the next 5 days, excluding the 11 games on Sunday, there are these 6 teams who play 1 game. They play 1 game Monday to Thursday. There are other 2 games for the week come on Friday and come on Sunday when there are 15 games on. So the Mavericks, the Nuggets, the Rockets, the Blazers, the Raptors, and the Jazz play once in the first 4 days. The only streamable days of the week, they play once. So if you've been streaming, or if you've been considering Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, Najee Marshall, in Denver, Peyton Watson, Russell Westbrook, shouldn't be. For Houston, Dylan Brooks, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith. For the Blazers, Delano Banton, Tamani Kamara, Donovan Clingan. Probably not Shaden Sharp. You're probably still holding on to him. For the Raptors, anybody. Shed, Robinson, Battle. I don't think Barnes is going to play, but I don't know that. And for the Jazz, is it worth Filipowski? Probably not. Sensible? Probably not. Sexton? Probably not. Collier? Probably not. George? Probably not. 1 game, 4 nights. Not going to be worth it. When, like I said, if you use your moves at the beginning of the week, you can get 4 games across 4 nights versus 1 from holding those guys. That's your advantage. Your advantage next week is dropping one of these terrible 6 and getting a Monday, a Tuesday, Wednesday back-to-back, a Thursday, 4 games, 4 nights, and then seeing what happens Friday, Sunday. That's your advantage. That's the only way you can do it. There's literally no other way to do it. That is the only way that you're able to pull that off. What about injury statuses? The Hornets are listing Mark Williams as questionable. I am listing the Hornets as liars. Simple as that. The Williams missed the last game with whatever sort of injury designation they gave it, thoracic muscle spasms. That's really cool. I love that for you to be able to do that. I will get this stuff wrong because I'm trying to guess into the minds of whatever's happening with teams. I see no way that Mark Williams plays, and my projections here are going to be working under the assumption that Mark Williams does not play. I don't think he's playing on Sunday. Lonzo Ball might also be questionable. You'll remember that 10 days ago the Bulls listed him questionable, and he hasn't played since because, again, the most blatant lying organization in the NBA regarding injuries at this very moment. He has been upgraded at least from doubtful. He went to questionable to doubtful to doubtful to doubtful to doubtful to doubtful to questionable. So maybe he's returning, but I also don't care. The Thunder. One of the things that we've spoken about for about 3 weeks on this show, a few of these things we've spoken about that have sort of come true. One of them was that Lauri Markkanen will not play 4 games in a week the rest of the season, which I called about middle of January, and of course that hasn't happened and it won't happen. But it's that the Thunder and the Cavs, one of their main rotation players, will be out every single game rest of the season. So yesterday, the Thunder got everyone back, and you know what they had? Oh, Isaiah Joe, knee soreness. Oh, really? Did he? Did he have some knee soreness? Did he? Okay. So whose turn is it today? Aaron Wiggins just returned, so Hartenstein get a day off. Caruso going to get a day off. What about Dort? What about Wallace? What about Shea? What about Jalen? What about Chet? Somebody's sitting a game here. I don't think there's any way the Thunder play every one of these games with their main rotation pieces in these games. I just don't think it's happening. Especially the Thunder, by the way. If you've got the Thunder and you're playing this week, their final 2 games, include the final 3, but the final 2 games for the Thunder at Utah, at New Orleans. Those games, they might as well bring out Jalen Horde to sign him to a 10-day and get him out there because you're going to be getting a lot of Dylan Jones. You're going to be getting a lot of Adam Flagler in those 2 games. But I do not think that the Thunder key rotation pieces, which is Shea, Jalen, Kaysen, Lugentz, Chet, Aaron, Isaiah, Alex, the other Isaiah, Joe, Kenrich, and the other Jalen Williams, they're their rotation players. I don't think there's any game for the rest of this week that all of those guys are available. I just don't know who's going to be in. Last game, D'Angelo Russell for the Nets played 12 minutes. He was absolutely dreadful, and now he was listed questionable with an ankle injury, and now they've actually ruled him out. He is done. They basically said it. Jordi Fernandez said, yeah, we wanted to put our younger players into higher leverage or important possessions, which means he is done. I would also suggest that Cameron Johnson is done. I'm pretty sure that Johnson won't play. And the other one is that Nick Claxton just got ruled out on Sunday, and then their game on Tuesday, the Nets, is against the Pelicans, so don't be shocked when that happens. So I think Johnson is done. I think Russell is done. I think that's over. Scottie Barnes, they are listing him questionable. I do not have any understanding of why they are doing this. He sat the last game, which I thought was obvious he was going to sit, and everything that's coming out from them seems to be just priming the gears, priming the pumps to suggest that he's done. They play Brooklyn, Charlotte, Dallas, and San Antonio, a murderer's row in what if murdering was tickling with a feather. There's no chance Barnes plays all four. I'll give him one of those games. I just don't know which one it is. And they're doing the on and off thing. Quickly and Pirtle are out on Sunday. They'll be back on Friday. You can drop these guys, by the way. That means that Quickly and Pirtle will not play a game on they play one game on a low volume day for the season. That is on Wednesday against the Hornets, and then they're done. And Barrett has got Sunday's game and Friday's game, and I just think Barnes is done as well. The Blazers, I list them all together here because, well, obviously we know DeAndre Ayton's not coming back. We know that. Jeremy Grant's going to be listed doubtful, and then he's not going to play. We know that. I am fairly confident that Tamani Kamara won't play. Sprained his ankle on Friday, sprained his ankle Thursday, didn't play Friday. Don't think he plays Sunday against the Spurs and against the Jazz. And if you want an indication of this, they were sort of close against the Bulls with 4 minutes left, and they pulled Denny Avdia and Shaedon Sharpe off. Well, they didn't. That might have been something that's separate, not really basketball related, but they put them onto the bench and let the worst players play so they guaranteed a loss. Because they need to make sure they can sort of stay in this area. And against the Bulls in particular, the Bulls, the idiots, trying to win and guarantee a play-in, that helped the Bulls get that spot and pull the Blazers back. So Kamara, Simons, and Scoot, I don't think will play against the Spurs, who they are almost neck and neck with in the tanking standings. I'll double check that because of that. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll get the exact numbers. San Antonio, yeah, there you go. San Antonio has 32 wins. Portland has 33. So Portland losing to San Antonio means they both are on 33 wins, which means the Blazers can go from 9 to 8. And that would be, or is that an old, maybe that's an old standing list. Let me check because it is refreshing. I lied. Portland won a game in between there. They're on 34 wins. The Spurs are on 32. They are 1.5 games behind. But the other thing with Portland is that Phoenix, and Miami and Chicago, they're all coming for them. They are 1.5 behind Portland. So Portland can't afford to win because if they win a game, they go to 35, which is equal with Phoenix, equal with Miami, equal with Chicago. They need to lose to San Antonio, so San Antonio to go to 33, Portland can go to 34, and then they've got a chance of jumping them. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that Simons and Scoot and Jeremy and Kamara are all going to sit. I'm pretty confident of that, and my projections will reflect that. For Utah, Walker Kessler, he is dealing with a concussion. At the time of me preparing this graphic, he was not sure if he was playing. I had worked it so that I thought that my projections had him as doubtful, and he is now officially out, so he is not returning. Let me rephrase that. I don't think that Walker Kessler will be playing again this season, but I don't know that at this stage. The only other injury for Utah is KJ Martin. Boston, like Oklahoma City, is going to sit somebody every game. Although, to be fair, they didn't last game. What they did is they just pulled Kristaps Porzingis up to 23 minutes. And they played, who else? Drew and Jalen under 30. And now, against the Wizards on Sunday, and they are 20-point favorites, the Celtics, both Tatum and Brown are questionable. Somebody's not playing. I don't know who, but somebody is not playing. The headmaster, Jamal Murray, is dealing with his hamstring tightness still. He's questionable. Is it tightness or is it a strain? I'm going to guess, considering it's over a week, that they're lying to us again. Considering they keep losing, they've lost 3 in a row. They're not sitting him out for soreness. They're sitting him out because he injured his hamstring. With Murray out, it means you get more Peyton Watson. It means you get deeper league Jalen Pickett. I don't think that Murray plays, although he is officially listed as questionable. The other one there is Giannis, who is not really an injury worry, so to speak, but he is probable for Saturday's game. They've got a back-to-back, and they play on Sunday the Pelicans. So don't be shocked if Giannis is out. And then Jordan Hawkins for the Pelicans. And why is he important? Well, he just can play these 27 useless minutes, but it takes away opportunities from Reeves, from Brooks, from Brown, from Jamal Cain, Alfred Payton. And the injury they're listing Jordan Hawkins with doesn't suggest to me that he's coming back anytime soon. Lumbar, spine, annular fissure. That's not very good sounding. I really don't think he's going to play either. We're going to come back and talk Yahoo point streaming and Category League point streaming as well, and ESPN point streaming as well. We'll chuck that in there too. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Do you ever check on your bank account and go, geez, where's the money? Where did my money go? Where did it go? Well, it probably went on dining out. Maybe it was online shopping. Maybe it was entertainment. It can be very easy to lose track of that, and that's where Monarch Money comes in. It's your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. It tracks all your accounts, all your investments, all your spending in one place. But it's not just to manage your money. It's also to help you start building wealth. You can use it as a long-term goal planner as well as keeping all of your financial apps in one spot. Instead of having to log into all the individual bank apps and investment apps, you can see it all in Monarch Money. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That is monarchmoney.com. The code is LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Okay, we are back and we are ready to talk some streaming players. I think that's where we're at. Yep, we are ready to talk streaming players. We're going to go to Yahoo Points and we're going to look at some options who are available in different roster percentage categories to hit some numbers here for Sunday. Remembering, you may have an ability to have like an open roster spot. You might, but if you don't, you are only trading one game for another game. You're not gaining an advantage. And if you're going to do that, just see if there's a Kings player. See if Monk is there. See if Alice is there to just give you a heads up for next week if you're playing. Otherwise, if it's the last day of your week and your season ends on Sunday, if you think someone's going to score 20 fantasy points and your worst guy you think is going to score 15, drop him. That extra 5 points is important. Drop anybody you want if it's the final day. Just make sure you got everyone playing. Let's talk Yahoo Points. Like I said, with Portland, they are in this is where I think that we can be very, very, it's not always going to work this way. Also, by the way, if you look at the Tankathon standings, right, the bottom 11 teams on that list, this is their recent record. Utah lost 8, Washington lost 1, Charlotte lost 2, New Orleans lost 2, Philadelphia lost 10, Brooklyn lost 1, Toronto lost 3, San Antonio lost 1, Portland lost 1, Phoenix lost 5, Miami lost 1. There's only 2 teams in that bottom 14 at the moment who have won their most recent game. The Bulls, the idiots, have won 2 in a row, and the Kings have won their last game. So basically, everyone there just keeps losing, and this is why these San Antonio-Portland games are important. Because the only way one of these teams, realistically, most of the time, unless Washington plays Sacramento, the only time one of these teams is going to win is when they play each other. So Portland wants San Antonio to beat them, so they've got a chance of getting into that 8 spot. They're not going to get to 7. The Raptors are basically locked in at 7. But then Portland can't slip to 13 or 12. They cannot want to do that. They need to get to 8. So that is why that becomes important. And that is why, again, I am thinking all of those guys are out. And then one of the biggest stat factories but worst actual real-life players, Delano Banton, is going to play big minutes. He is a horrific real-life player in my mind. I just cannot stand the way he plays. He is a guy, you know who he is? You know who he is? He's Portland's Taylor Horton-Tucker. Simple as that. A guy that is tall, who handles the ball, who's a horrific shooter, who's a bad on-call player, who racks up stats that make sense for fantasy when he gets the minutes. But every time you go, oh, maybe there's something there. There's not, because no one wants to play him when the games matter. And that's sorry to you, that man, and sorry to his family. But I would say the proof is in the pudding of him being not able to play when games matter. But that doesn't matter if we're here, because they don't matter. Scoot, Simons, Grant, they're all going to be out. So Banton's going to do his thing. And that means you can use him. Now, of course, if Simons or Scoot, if I'm wrong, and Simons and Scoot do play, and Banton plays 15 minutes, well, it's a bad move. But I feel like all of the incentives and all of the sense around what Portland should do would suggest that we're getting 35 minutes of Delano Banton. You're going to hear me mention the name Jose Alvarado a lot. Is he great? Absolutely not. But they are giving him 28 minutes, and that's relatively consistent, and a guy that's available on a bad team who's getting consistent minutes is someone we should look to. They are basically locked in their spot at number 4. They are 2 games off the 3rd spot, and they are 2 games ahead of Philadelphia in the 5th spot. It's going to be really tough for them, although if they win their games, Philadelphia is catching them because Philadelphia will not win another game. That is locked in, guaranteed. They will not win another game, Philadelphia. So they've got to be cautious there, but I think that they can get that done by rolling out Jamal Cain 20 minutes. Isaiah Collier has dropped down to 30% rostered, and understandably so, but the Jazz are playing him a little bit more now, 32 minutes versus 29 minutes, and his shooting has improved enough. He had been a guy that I'd targeted earlier in the season. Those assists were useful, but it never really picked up. And then when we get to the end of the year and he's your 11th or 12th best player, that player is not a guy to hold. But at the moment, he's gone further. He's ahead of that. He's like your 8th best, your 7th best, which makes it more interesting. But he has been dropped. So he is an option here to stream in, Isaiah Collier. Ryan Rollins on the back-to-back. Don't expect Dame to be there, so we just keep going with Rollins, Bub Carrington. The interesting thing with Washington is they played Boston. So they probably don't need to sit guys out in order to lose. Now, Keyshawn George is out again, but Jordan Poole is off the injury report. Now, Poole will go back onto the injury report, I am certain, for Wednesday's game against Philly, and then Chicago-Miami to end the year. Pretty sure about that. But Carrington is one of those guys, again, a little bit like Banton, way more skill, way more upside, way more future talent, but who've been able to put up numbers recently without impacting winning. And his minutes are 39, 41, and 37 the last 3 games, which, again, but the 4th game there was 22, because he hadn't really elevated until these last 3. But I do think we're going to get quite a bit of bubbles here. The last name on this list is KJ Simpson, who should get his 30 minutes tonight. There's no LaMelo Ball. Nick Smith might return, but I just think we're going to get 30 from KJ every night. This is more of a deeper league stream, but it is a stream, nonetheless, that you can look at. For ESPN points, it's very similar names. The order slightly changes. You go to Jose Alvarado ahead of Delano Banton because the Steelers get that extra bump over on ESPN. We do Ryan Rollins ahead of Isaiah Collier. Guess why? Because the Steelers got an extra bump. And you've got Bub Carrington, but the other name that I'm going to put at the bottom of this list is going to be the painter, Matisse Thybulle, because guess why? The Steelers get an extra bump. Really simple calculations. Now, you don't have to make those calculations all the time in your head, but when you're looking to see what a guy is on ESPN versus Yahoo, and a steal gets 3 points versus 4 points, it's 33% extra production out of that category. So those guys get little bumps, don't they? And with my expectation that Portland's sitting a bunch of guys, Thybulle could play 28 minutes, he could get 5 steals, and that's 20 fantasy points right there. So he's an option. He's available in a lot of different spots, Matisse, and this is the opportunity to use him. Considering he hasn't played all season, I think they're going to be okay with letting him roll out there on a team with not much else there. He's not winning you games because he can't score, but he is doing enough to generate some fantasy appeal for us through, you guessed it, steals. We're going to talk category leagues in a sec. Today's episode, though, is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, and the NBA playoffs are almost here. And FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on that action. So when you join FanDuel and you place your first $5 bet, you get $250 in bonus bets if that first bet wins. It makes betting so easy. You can be picking your favorite team straight up against the spread totals. You could be looking at player props. You could be doing 3-pointers or steals or assists. There's so many ways that you can check in on those player props to get that action in on your favorite player. And then even after the game tips off, you can combine live prop bets into a same game parlay for a chance to win big. So don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. All right, let's talk about category leagues now. Let's talk about who we can stream in for the individual 8 categories. There is going to be a lot of name repetition. And again, remember, we are in a situation where there are 11 games on. So it's not going to be that you're getting necessarily an extra game, but it's about what categories do I need? Do I need to protect a category? Do I need to win a category? Do I need to take it off somebody? What do I need to do? And same with Roto. Can I catch somebody? Is someone coming up from behind that I need to guard against? Your processes for that differ as well. Who am I looking at points? Again, Delano Banton. We just talked about it a lot. If you didn't hear me talk about Delano Banton, go to the Yahoo point section. He should have an opportunity with my expectation the Blazers sit most of their guys. Jose Alvarado. Is he a 20-point guy? Probably not, but 15 maybe. The role is relatively secure. The big fella Dylan Brooks is returning from his suspension, so we can look to him. We know that there is risk always with Dylan Brooks. It's a consistent thing. But he's been better this season, I would say, for prolonged stretches more than any other year. Bob Carrington is getting those huge minutes, and the shooting is better. There could be a disaster, but volume should get you done. And then we go to San Antonio, and then there is the pencil Harrison Barnes. Barnesy! I didn't mention it on the key statuses for the injuries, but I believe that Jeremy Sohan's done for the season. They basically said that without saying that, I'm not going to rule him out for the season, but his back's a real problem, and he probably is not going to be like, he's done. Like that, to me, again, who knows? But when you talk like that, you are definitely giving yourself the out for him not to play. And whatever I just said for Portland, the same goes for San Antonio. They cannot win against Portland because they want to keep themselves in that spot ahead of Portland. This is the key game for them. Is Harrison Barnes at risk of sitting? I guess so. Maybe we get some David Duke, not that one. Maybe we get David Duke in there getting minutes. Maybe it's Harrison Ingram or Riley Minix. I don't know. They are real players that play for the Spurs. We watch it. The last one there is John Juzang. I think that Sexton will be... it's a little bit tough with Sexo because he might play 30, he might play 22, I don't know. But I do know that Kessler's out. KJ Martin might be out. The others are out. So Juzang should start and be useful enough for us here, especially with Walker Kessler. I know there are different positions, but again, this stuff is all contextual. Johnny Juzang getting a bump because Walker Kessler's out sounds absolutely insane on the surface. But not when you think that when Kessler's out, it means that Filipowski moves from the 4 to the 5, meaning that there's a position open in the starting lineup for Juzang to slide in, which is exactly what happens. So everything is contextual. 3-pointers. Look at that big fella at the top there. This is deeper league stuff. But John Juzang, now it is risky. He might play 0 minutes. They might go with Svi Mykhailiuk. Maybe they dust off the big fella, the quiet tank legend, EJ Harkless, who was playing minutes in December. Hasn't played since, but he was out there on lineups that looked to be trying to be competitive. But when you're playing EJ Harkless, you're not. So I think Juzang's fine. Jose Alvarado, Royce O'Neal. He played 30 minutes last game, returning from the illness. There is always the possibility that Budenholzer goes with Dunn, or O'Neal, or Allen, or Gillespie, or Jones. And it's risky. We've seen it with O'Neal a million times this season. But I like it. Gary Trent, Julian Champagny. That's the San Antonio one. Because again, if they want to be cautious and they want to pull Barnes back, or they want to play less for Sal, you could say whether playing Castle more or less helps them win or lose. That's up to you how you want to determine that. But I think there is a chance that Champagny can play a little bit more there as well. And then in Toronto, with rests happening too quickly, maybe Barnes and to Pirtle, then Jamison Battle just will do more. And he is realistically just a 3-point streamer. And he does it relatively often. He probably won't start though because Barrett returns. 4 assists, Jamal Shed. I know it looks like Sheed. It's Shed. Shathid. Remember that one? Yeah, here it is. The old Shathid, Jamal Shed. No quickly. 6 assists maybe. Let's bang it. Jose Alvarado. Should I just keep saying his name every time? Cool. AJ Johnson in Washington is playing a lot of minutes. You don't really know what you're going to get apart from those minutes. And sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. But I prefer a guy where I get minute security versus a player that can get cooked at any point through a 2-minute randomness. There's Delano Banton. There's KJ Simpson, guys that can get those assists and are in position to get more minutes. And then Carrington. So overall, again, it's been very weird this season. It's been so hard all year to get reliable assist guys off the waiver wire. And you get to the fantasy playoffs and it's like, hey, do you want assists? They're everywhere, but just get anyone. These are all 10% guys, 20% guys who play 30 minutes and get 7 assists. They're everywhere. And I don't believe that. I don't think that's been something that's happened in the past. It's an interesting development that we're just getting all of these random waiver wire point guards and random assists contributors at this point of the season, which all during the year you just couldn't buy an assist off the wire. You couldn't do it. Really, really interesting development. For steals, Thybulle, easy. The easiest call you'll make all day. Alvarado, Keon Johnson, all incredibly easy picks. What about the package? Jaden Springer. If Springer gets 20 minutes, you might get 3 steals and a block. He will struggle in a lot of other areas, but he might not. He might not play those minutes. He might play 0. The Jazz one with Springer is a little bit iffy. Alex Caruso I put on this list reluctantly. He's not currently on the injury report, but he could be. And then we go to KJ Simpson, who, again, I feel good that he's going to play 30 minutes. For free throw percentage, We're going to head to Bryce Sensabaugh, who's been shooting horrifically from the field, but the production, the threes, the usage is in line, and he can get his free throws. Benedict Mathurin, you could put Mathurin for the threes, you could put him for the points. He does struggle with volume when they're all healthy, but one thing he will do is hit his free throws. Seth Curry is starting for the Hornets in a shock twist. He's not entirely good at this point, but he's a great free throw shooter. I've got Julian Champagny there, KJ Simpson there, and Bub Carrington, names which I've mentioned a lot. If you go to the big men, be aware of this, is I'm mentioning Yusuf Nurkic and Moussa Diabate here. But that is because I believe that Mark Williams will not play. Now, if Mark Williams does play, then I'm not that interested in them. Although, Nurkic could easily start at the 4 like he did the other day. Although I am thinking we might get a Tijan Salan start. And this is literally the first time I think in weeks, months, that I have actually physically put Tijan Salan on the stream board. And I'm doing it here. So Nurkic and Diabate are options. Steven Adams will go back to the bench, I'm guessing, with Brooks returning, but easily can play 20 minutes. With Kessler out, Oscar Tshiebwe should be the backup center. He's a double-digit rebound option in low minutes. Orlando Robinson should be starting in Toronto with Pirtle out, so this is a great opportunity to use him. And then we do go to Tijan Salan, who has been terrible, but also better of late. Now, going from terrible to not quite as terrible is not a big step, but it's big enough where if you got 29 minutes and 8 rebounds out of Salan and maybe hit 50% shooting, you'd feel like that's a pretty big W. And I think that's a real possibility here. For blocks, with Sohan likely out, I'm going to go to Bismack Biyombo, Peyton Watson, Oscar Iguodaro, the Suns' new starting center. Are you sick and tired of all the league winning that Nick Richards is doing? I am so sick of it, man. It's just been I can't handle it. It's too much winning. Oscar Iguodaro starts over Nick Richards now. Is he a great high upside blocks guy? Not really, but if he plays 30 minutes, we're okay there. I don't know why I wrote his name as Karl Makovic. I guess that's his non-union American equivalent. Karlo Makovic in 22 minutes is interesting, and he just keeps fluffing us. Like, we're not right there. If he played 28 minutes, he'd be top 70 without any question, but they don't give it to him. And that's fine. That's their decision. I've got Nurkic and Thybulle there as well, who are not going to be high upside blocks guys. But again, we're working under the assumption that the Blazers are sitting guys and that Mark Williams is out, and both of those players are in the mix. For field goal percentage, the Diabate one is there because I don't believe Williams plays. I've got Iguodaro there. Luke Cornett, maybe there's a sit for one of the Celtics guys, I don't know. Probably not because they're all off the injury report. But Jackson Hayes, he will play fewer minutes in this game compared to last game, but can still be a 3 of 3, 4 of 4 guy. Here's BDNR, ready to win our leagues with a field goal percentage option in maybe 15 minutes. And the last one is Mitch Robinson. Now, I did not think that they would do this. I got this wrong yesterday. The Knicks played a back-to-back, then often played a back-to-back, and then Robinson played the first game, sat the second game, and now he sat the first game again. So he's going to have 2 days off in a row, then he's going to play Sunday. I thought he would just play Saturday, sit Sunday, but apparently not. So Robinson looks like he'll be available for the game on Sunday. And that, I believe, is the end of the show. It is. So, go make yourself a carbonara, get your guanciale out. More importantly, make the moves that make sense for your team, whether it's a points league or a category league. Get the matchup in to win on Sunday. If it's a roto league, check your games limits, check what categories you need to attack, what categories you need to defend. That's where we're at in the season now. Guys, hit the old subscribe button over here. You'll never miss an episode that way. And why would you want to do that anyway? So subscribe and leave those comments down below. Keep things going. Keep it rolling. Remember, you did a good thing today. And that's just the truth. Whether you realize it or not, you did. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.